Hi everyone, this is Grace of gbmaltese, and I am going to be working on the custom of my brother Darrell, who, if you've been watching me, know that we lost to cancer on Christmas Eve 2019, and Rachel of Treasure Studios Art did this custom for me, and it is gorgeous. I have completed the jacket. This is actually my second time to try to do a whip and chat while working on this. I talked for over an hour on the first time I came on here last Saturday. I think it was the 10th, something like that. And I uploaded it to YouTube. And it uploaded fine. Then it went to processing. It processed to 95%. That was the end. It would not finish. I tried 6 different times. I'm like, okay. You know, usually 3 times, you strike out, you're done. Okay. Not me. I went another 3 times. Nothing. So I'm going to try it again today. And if you see this video, then you know it worked this time. So I had been talking about Darrell when I worked on this a little bit, and I'll share a few little things about him. I just want to say I am loving this custom. Rachel did an awesome job on this. Today I'm going to be using this color, 154. It's a lot of the background, as you can see, because there's a lot of that color. But look how gorgeous this jacket has turned out. All of this is complete. I have finished putting all of my drills in, and it is fabulous. Fabulous. This is done in squares. I'm going to lower you so you can see the area I will be working on. Let me get you at an angle where you can tell what I'm doing. And we're going to hope this all turns out this time. We shall see. Now, as you know, I always use my release sheets, my silicone release sheets that I purchased on Amazon. I do have that linked in my store, my affiliate link. I love these. I put a sticker on this side because that's the wrong side. You don't want to put the dull side down or you can't get it off. So you can see how shiny and sticky, how shiny it is. And it comes off of there real easily. And I use this to lay my arm on. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of tips there of what I do when I'm working on things. Okay, let me see. We've got a bit of a glare right there. I'm not sure if I can do anything about that. Really don't. Maybe I'll pull you in a little closer. And maybe it won't glare quite so badly. Let's back up just a little bit. Maybe not right underneath the light. And that might help a little bit. Come up. Move around. Try to change things up just a little. The area I'm going to be working on is right here. And that's where that light wants to keep just beating its little self down. Yeah, you can't see it back there, can you? Nope. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let me try to move you forward a little bit. We're going to play around with this just a minute. Well, of course not. Of course it's going to keep doing that. I'll try to get this arranged in some way where I can still kind of see what I'm doing, but you can see also. As you can see, Look how beautiful these drills are. I'm going to turn on my white pad. I don't know if that'll help any or not, but you can see how beautiful these drills are. They look exceptionally good. Very nice. I don't know that I've had any trash in these drills. Fabulous. Go check out Rachel and Treasure Studios art. I have 3 more of hers I need to unbox and show you that I will do. Maybe I'll get to that either before I upload this one, if this one will upload for me, so you can see those that I have. Of course, this is the one I want to get done. I did get 2 of this one. Let's see if I can do it like that. Oh, you know what? Let's try this. Okay, I'll just put you up a little higher, and maybe the glare won't be so bad. I'll try doing it like this, so maybe you can see. I guess it would help if I, oops, excuse me, put a little wax in my pen, load her up. I'm using my sticky wax, super sticky patty wax. I'm having trouble talking this morning. Goodness. We're expecting rain for the next few days. We shall see what happens. I've got Bogey over here lying on the couch next to me. There he is. Bogey! Boo-boo! Hey, there he is. There's my baby. He's keeping me company while I work on this. I'll just, maybe just keep it up a little bit higher so you can see. Yeah, I don't think the glare isn't quite as bad. We'll see how this turns out. We're going to just try it. So you can kind of see what's going on here. You can see, I haven't got to the face yet. I am not going to get to that until I get a lot more of this area done. So let's get started. Let me get a few of these down. Now when I'm doing squares on this painting, sometimes you can see the squares pretty good, sometimes you don't. I usually try to look at the line to the left and line it up to that. If there are no, if there's no grid at all, just cover up your symbol, because over on this other white area I could not really see the grid. And you don't need to have a grid. You're going to put these down and you can just take your time. When you're working on squares, just take your time. You will get better at it as time goes on. And I do like squares, especially for a portrait. I think it renders it in a better way. That's my opinion. Everyone has their own. So the more squares you do, and please, if you're going to do squares, just start with something small. Don't go out and find the biggest diamond painting you can and say, ooh, I'm going to try squares and get used to them. No, don't do that. My first square I think I did a 30 by 30, I don't know. It wasn't a real large one. And it was of a Yorkie puppy, a cartoon looking one. Just get something simple to start out with, and you will be a whole lot happier. Okay, it's coming along nicely. I hope. Let me see if I can go down just a little bit without getting any glare. So maybe you can see what I'm doing a little better. Well, my hand is probably in the way. Oh, I know what I might do. Let's try to do it at a side angle. I don't know that I can do that with my camera the way it is, the way I have this. Let's see. We'll try something different, just to see if you can see how I'm putting these squares down. Okay, when you have them right next to each other, that's simple. Just get that first one pretty straight. And if you want to do the checkerboard method, just get it straight. There's a little line right there, and I put it up against that, so it'll be straight. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and fill these in. On this one, I have mostly just been going one next to each other, because there will be different spaces in between, like here. You can see I'm just going up against that line and getting it straight. You just want to cover the symbol. Just try, if you need to steady your hand, you can put your little, well, you can't see what I'm doing because I'm out of screen. Put one little finger down, kind of brace yourself, and if it's sticky there, get you a sheet of parchment paper or this silicone release paper, and it will help you steady your hand a little bit better. I've gotten where I don't really need to do that. I will just kind of lay my whole hand down, is easier. You notice I've got it propped up here against this. So that is how I am. I guess I dropped one. That's kind of how I'm doing it. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea, because I've had different people tell me they're afraid to try squares. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. They're not going to hurt you. Just take your time. Just remember, you're just trying to cover up that symbol. And I've had people ask me, does using a square pen help? No, it doesn't. I've tried it. In fact, I felt like the square one made it more difficult for me to see the drill. When I have it on this pen like this, I can see the sides of my drill. So I take those sides and kind of line it up to that and put it down. Just like that. And this is checkerboard when you're doing it this way. Just thought I'd do a quick little tutorial on this because I've had some questions about the squares. That one didn't come out real straight, but it'll straighten out more once I get another one in there. I always keep an empty pen. There's no wax or anything in it to kind of turn it around and get it straightened a little bit. That's just the way I do it. You do it however you want. There are no rules that you have to follow. Well, except to put your drills down there the right direction. And you don't want to put any paper on here. It'll get stuck. I'm talking about regular notebook paper or whatever. You can get it off, and the stickiness will return. Just use a baby wipe, or you could even use a washcloth with water on it to get it, to ease it off. So that's enough of that. I'm going to turn you back like this, I think. We'll see how this works. I'm not sure which way is going to look the best, but I'm going to pull you up a little higher so you can see the other part of this a little bit better and see what mostly I'm just here to talk to you. And I was going to talk a little bit about my brother Darrell. Of course, I miss him like crazy. It hasn't been quite 5 months since we lost him, and If you've lost someone, you know, the grieving really never goes away. It just becomes a little more bearable. I miss him. I miss the talks we had. We got a lot closer in this last couple of months of his life, because he wanted me to come and talk. He told me I comforted him when I'd come, and we just sit and talk about just everything. We talk about our childhood, and he just tell me all kinds of stuff, things that worried him. We'd have funny stories, sad stories, just all kinds of things. And Darrell, when we were kids, he was more quiet. I had two brothers. No longer. Darrell is in heaven, so yeah, he'll always be my brother, of course, but I can't go visit him now. He lived about an hour away from me. So when you grow up and your kids are young, you don't see each other as much as you did in earlier days. But I love all of his kids. They're awesome. My sweet, sweet Darlissa, that was his firstborn. Hey, Darlissa, I hope that you're able to watch. She also has the same picture to work on, because she got caught on to diamond painting because of her Aunt Grace. Yes, I thought I'm going to take a diamond painting from my brother and see if that would help relax him. Well, he told me he sat down and tried it. I mean, I showed him what to do and everything. So then he sits down to work on it. He said it made him nervous. He just couldn't get his mind focused on there. So Darlissa comes over to visit. Well, half the time I'm not even picking up a drill. Darlissa comes to visit, and Darrell showed it to her, and she said, "Oh, I'll take it home and finish it." And Darlissa watched some of my videos, and she did that diamond painting, finished it for him. It was just a partial. It wasn't a hard one. I took something easy for him, but still, he was having a difficulty concentrating on much of anything at that point in time. So Darlissa finished it for him. So she developed a love for diamond painting also. Yay, Darlissa! And so when I said I'm going to order a diamond painting of your dad, I said, would you like me to do one for you, or do you want to do it? She said, oh, I want to do it. So the one I'm doing right now is going to be for my brother's widow and their youngest son, to hang in their home. And I'm also doing one for Darrell's youngest daughter, because she cares not one thing about the crafting stuff. So I want to do this for her. And she's amazing, just like Darlissa. Those kids are amazing. I love them. I love them all of his kids. He had four children. 3 grown and 1, well, gosh, Connor just turned 18. And that was a tough one without his dad. And Connor is a senior in high school, so not only did he lose his dad this year, his senior year has been kind of, what's the word, screwed up. But we have to stay safe. They're talking about maybe doing a graduation and postponing it. So we're going to see. I'm hoping that that's going to happen, so we can all be there and holler and shout for Connor. Darrell had wanted to live to be able to see his youngest graduate from high school. And, well, as you know, he did not. But Darrell, he knew he wasn't doing well. And for Connor's graduation, he was having a watch fixed up. Darrell, of course, was in the Marines for several years. When he was in the Marines, and they have their, they call it the MCX, PX, whatever. And he saw a watch that he really liked. It was a Seiko. You know, and Seiko's a nice brand. They last forever. And back in those days, that watch was $200. Now, that's a lot of money back then. I mean, it's still a lot now. But back then, he put it on layaway and just kept putting his money, saving up his money and paying a little bit as he could until he was able to afford that watch. And he wore it all the time. I don't know how many times he may have replaced the band, because the watch was just fine. Then he stopped wearing the watch. I have no idea why. But then since the watch had been sitting for so long, it quit working. And he finally found somebody in Florida who worked on that kind of watch. He said what happened was, while it was sitting out, not being used, the battery, I guess, corroded and ruined the inside workings of the watch. So Darrell had to pay to get it fixed. He got a new band for it, and that was going to be Connor's graduation present. Well, Darrell, as Christmas was getting closer, he was getting worse, and he decided to make that a Christmas gift instead. And he wrote the most beautiful letter. Oh my gosh. He actually typed it out on his phone because he wasn't able to write very well. He was so weak. He let me read it. I cried. It was just beautiful. And he kept asking me, do you think Connor's going to like this watch? And I said, he will cherish that for the rest of his life. And he gave it to him, I believe he gave it to him the day before Christmas Eve, if I'm not mistaken. It was before he got so weak that he couldn't do it, because by that afternoon of Christmas Eve, we couldn't get his oxygen up. But he gave that watch to him, and yeah, Connor was in love with that watch, and I just think it's awesome. And I wish I had the picture to show you, but Darlissa, the one I've been talking about, Darrell, even while he was ill, he would sit there and he would take selfies of himself, of just making crazy faces or whatever, just mostly very serious. But he took one and he was wearing it looks kind of like a beret. And he took a picture. He looked very serious in the picture. And he had it printed out in black and white. And he had it framed, and he signed it to give to Darlissa for her birthday. And Darrell signed it, "Pimpin' Ain't Easy." And he put, "Dad." That was my brother. A sense of humor that was just unbelievable. He could make you laugh. I know he has had lots of funny stories. I didn't get to know all of them, because, as I said, you know how it is when you are raising your own kids and you kind of doing your own thing. But as kids, I remember, gosh, Darrell was probably, I don't know, maybe a freshman in high school. I'm not really sure. I don't remember how old he was. But he had a hernia, and he had an operation. For some reason, they let him have a syringe, a needle syringe, but with no needle in it, of course. And my younger sister, she's 14 months younger than I, is terrified of needles. So he takes that syringe, empty, and he starts chasing her around the house with it. Now, I can't remember if it was Darrell doing it or my brother Greg, but one of them. But it was Darrell's syringe. And Judy was just hollering. My parents weren't there at the time, or that wouldn't have been happening, I guarantee. My dad raised us like we were in boot camp, pretty much. So when he would be gone, we cut loose. And did we tattle on each other? No, we did not. My dad just got a little bit too angry, and if you've ever had military punishment, you would understand. So he chased her around with that. We also had dogs every so often when we were growing up. My dad really didn't like dogs much. He just never, got close to them. It was the way he was raised. Anyway, we had this German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd was a sweet dog. She really was. Somehow, Darrell was scared of it, and dogs can tell when you're afraid of them. And my brother Greg, I don't know what he said, but he got the dog to chase Darrell. And I remember seeing Darrell across the backyard, jumped onto we had a wooden fence around the backyard, jumped onto that fence to get away from the dog. So that did not help his love of animals at that time. Another time that involved dogs happened to be with my husband, Jerry. Yeah, Jerry, the prankster. He's another one that likes to pull these funny little pranks. Jerry and I were not married at this time, but Darrell was friends with him. Jerry and I dated 5 years, before we got married. So Darrell was over at Jerry's house, and they were outside in the front. I didn't get enough wax in there. Sometimes I just getting too big a hurry, but it doesn't take but a second. Put a little more on there. Anyway, across the road, these people had some huskies, beautiful dogs. And their gate was open. They let the dogs, sometimes run around outside in the street, which is not a good idea. It wasn't a busy street, so that wasn't a big problem. The dog comes halfway across the street, and Jerry tells Darrell, he's so friendly. He's coming out across because he wants you to come, pet him. So Darrell, oh, okay. So Darrell walks over there. That dog started growling. Yeah, now he wasn't coming out to be petted. He wanted to take a chunk out of whoever might be there. So I wasn't there. I just heard about it. How Darrell ran across the street, and he just jumped over the side of a truck. I mean, he just leaped. Probably, put one hand out and leaped into the back of a truck. Darrell was very athletic. I have to say, he was very athletic. I remember in high school, the coaches all wanted Darrell to be for their football, track, and all that kind of stuff. And Darrell told them, no, my dad didn't let us do extracurricular activities. He just didn't. He wanted us at home. So the coach calls the house, and my dad basically tells him, no, he's not doing it. So, yeah, that was sad. Darrell probably would have gotten all kinds of scholarships. But, that's just the way it went. My dad's extracurricular activities for us were to take piano and organ lessons. Yeah. Darrell and I were probably the only ones who really, I wouldn't say we loved it and enjoyed it because of the practicing part. Yeah, the practicing was not fun. I am happy that I can play the piano now. And Darrell was happy later also. But then, when you're a teenager, you want to go out and you want to do other things. Not us. We were indoors playing that piano. And we did go out and get to, we lived on a cul-de-sac in the last home we lived in the Houston area before we moved to this little bitty town. And we'd go out and we'd play baseball and things like that until it started getting dark and my dad was calling us to come inside. Let me tell you. My brother was probably well ready for anything they had for him in the Marines. Darrell took ROTC when he was in college, and when he graduated he was an officer and went on into the Marines. He was in the intelligence part of the Marines at one time, so he didn't tell us anything. I mean, that was top secret. And he did tell us about a time that they had to do some sort of a survival course, and he was dropped off in the jungles of Panama by himself. I'm not sure if they were equipped with only a knife or if they were given a rifle. I don't remember that part. They were not given any food, so they had to hunt for their own food. And I remember him telling us, he didn't tell us the whole story. He knew it would gross us out, but my brother Greg told me about it later. But he did end up having to kill a monkey and made a fire, cooked the monkey, and ate it. I remember him telling me it tasted kind of like roast beef. Well, later my brother Greg tells me, yeah, he was eating the brains out of it. Now, they never checked with Darrell. I don't know if that was true or not, but I have no idea. I guess if you're hungry enough, you will eat what you have to. You do what you have to do to survive. But that was one experience that he did. I would not do well. I would not do well. Guess I'd be eating grass. I don't know. But he was very proud to be a Marine. And that's back when he was in the Marines, they had the dress blues, but they also had these dress whites. They no longer have those. My Darlessa's husband was telling us, because he had also been in the Marines, he said they no longer have dress whites. So that's the reason I chose this picture. It's very iconic. They actually let him smile in this picture. I think he had told us they finished taking pictures because they don't let you smile in your pictures. But I think the guy let Darrell do one of him smiling. Because the one he has in his dress blues, boy, he's really serious. And he may have a dress whites without smiling. This is the one I could find. The dress blues, I didn't want his frowny face because he had a beautiful smile and beautiful blue eyes. He was he was always good to me. He was kind to me, unlike my brother Greg. That's a whole nother story there. Poor Darrell. Okay, Darrell was the oldest. Greg is about 3 years younger, I guess. Anyway, at the beginning, Darrell was taller than Greg. So they would wrestle and tussle and all that things that boys do, and Darrell would, finish out on top. Then Greg outgrew Darrell. He got taller. Then, as the proverbial, the shit hit the fan at that point, because my brother Greg said he was going to pay Darrell back for everything he'd done. Now, Darrell was more of a kind-hearted person. Greg was something else. I remember one time seeing Greg sitting on top of Darrell, stuffing grass in his mouth, and telling him to holler, "Uncle!" Well, it's kind of hard to say anything if someone's putting grass in your mouth. Yeah, Greg's laughing. He thinks it's all funny and everything, and I'm just going, stop that. You know? And another time, now this, if anybody could think of something cruel to do to you, that would be Greg. So, you know, if you need any suggestions, yeah, get in contact with him. One time, he got Darrell and hog-tied him. And, of course, if you're not sure what hog-tying is, it's when you take someone's hands and feet and tie them in back of them. Okay? So, he's got his hands and feet tied behind him. And then he throws the mattress on top of him and gags him so that he can't holler to let my mom know there's a problem going on upstairs. Yeah, he finally let him go, of course. But he thought that kind of stuff was pretty funny. There were a lot of things that my mom and dad didn't know about because we, as I said, we did not tattle on each other. It was because my dad had a very bad temper, especially when it came to my brothers. Okay, my dad was their stepdad. When my mom was married to her first husband, she gave birth to a son that died breech birth. She waited, it took 7 years before she finally had Darrell. So she and her husband were so happy to have Darrell. Oh, Darrell looks so much like his daddy. I saw pictures and he looks so much like his dad. Anyway, when my mom was pregnant with Greg, her husband died of a heart attack. And she said that they called him Jack. His name was John, but they called him Jack. And she said that Jack always wore a hat. So anytime Darrell saw a man with a hat on, he'd just stare at them. I'm sure he thought maybe that was his dad, because his dad was gone. You can't explain something like that to a young child. I'm not sure exactly how old Darrell was at the time. Maybe, I don't think he was even 2 years old. So, did my mom give up? No. I think we get a lot of our tenacity from both my mom and dad. When my mom lost her husband, she went back to school and got a degree in cosmetology. Her sister, okay, my mom was from New Hampshire, and the man she married was in the Army, but he was originally from Texas. So he brought her to Texas, where I'm at. And her whole family ended up in Texas at one point. Finally, they were all ended up in Texas, left New Hampshire. And my mom went to cosmetology school, and she opened up a beauty shop in her garage so she could be home with her boys, but also be able to provide for them. My mom, I'll have to do a whole thing on her. To me, my mom was like a saint. Everybody loved her. And my Aunt Susie, she was my mom's youngest sister. She was the one who came and lived with my mom and helped her out. And she formed a very close bond to Darrell, because she was taking care of him. Greg. Oh, boy. How my mom survived Greg, I don't know. Darrell had a little broom set. He liked to clean up, help Mama around the house, pretending, okay, with his little broom, and he'd sweep around. Greg got a hold of Darrell's broom, and they had a little heater that was in the bathroom. Those were the ones that were in the wall, and there's little flames coming up as gas. Well, Greg stuck that little broom into that little fire. I guess he was wanting to see what was going to happen. Well, yeah, it caught on fire. And he's going through the house with it, and my Aunt Susie sees him, and she gets the broom and shoves it down into the toilet to put the fire out. So, yeah, that's the kind of stuff Greg did. Darrell was much calmer, except when he was a young baby. Now, my mama said Darrell was colicky for 9 months. She said, I don't think she had a good night's sleep for 9 months. His poor tummy was giving him all sorts of fits. So she was up with him a lot. He was a very colicky baby. When Darrell was in college, he had a girlfriend at the time that was in a sorority, and he basically was the sorority's sweetheart. All the girls just loved Darrell because he can make them laugh. He had that beautiful smile, those sparkling blue eyes, deep blue, just gorgeous eyes. I was always amazed by the color of his eyes. And so he was their sweetheart. Now, as he was raising his kids, I wasn't around Darrell that much. I was more around the kids and his first wife. I'm very close to her. I did my student teaching under her, and they had 3 kids together. And what was so funny is that me, Melissa, who was Darrell's first wife, and Melissa, Chelsea, and Travis were their kids together. Me, Melissa, and my sister, and Greg's first wife, Joy, we would take our kids to different places. We had so much fun. We go to, they don't even have some of these places anymore. Fame City was the name of one. And they had different little things that kids their age could do. Of course, Chuck E. Cheese. We just went everywhere. I would drive to Houston or wherever we decided to meet. We'd all meet. And the fun part was when we decided to go into the restaurants. At that time, I think we probably had five of the kids at that time. One time it was 4 of them because Tiffany's the oldest, that's Greg's daughter, and then was Darlissa, then Jason, that's my sister's son, and then my daughter Catherine. So those 4 were the ones we started out with first. Then along came, is it Jenna? Gosh, I should go back and look at our family tree. But we would take them, and they would put us, can you believe, at the back of the restaurant. It was a lot of fun, though. They'd see us coming in with all those kids and like, oh my God, what are y'all thinking about? But we had a good time. We really did. Then, as the kids grew older, we all went to birthday parties and that kind of stuff. Then as I got older, you kind of grow away from each other, and that's sad. But when you don't live in the same town, it makes it harder. So we were all kind of spread around different places. So we didn't see each other as much, except around Christmas time. We all got together at Mom and Daddy's house. And there was always this kind of unspoken rule, mostly between my sister Judy and my brother Darrell, to get each other's kids the loudest toy they could find. And it might be a fire engine that, those toy fire engines that make all that noise. And I think one time, I'm not sure, I think one of them bought one of those things you spray. It's a foghorn, you know, and you push the button. It's loud. It got to be really funny and ridiculous, but it was fun. That went on when they were younger, of course. So Darrell was just an all-around good guy. He had lots of friends. All of his brothers in the Marines, always, that's one thing about the Marines. They stick together as a brotherhood. And I don't think I've told all of you guys. Isaac, my kind of adopted grandson, he passed the crucible last week. He will be graduating next week as a Marine. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. When I get his graduation picture, I will show it to you. I may have to have that turned into a diamond painting also. You know, why not diamond paint everything? But Darrell knew about Isaac. He met him at a surprise party my daughter had given me. And when he found out Isaac was going to go to the Marines, he was excited about it. And Isaac even talked to Darrell on the phone. He sat next to him at my birthday party. Now, this was before Isaac was planning on going into the Marines. So they just, you know, talked and he got to know him. But he talked to Isaac on the phone and told him, gave him some kind of guidance as what might be the best path that he might want to take, depending on what his interests were. But Darrell, you would be so proud. He made it through the crucible. He got to call me that night. It was a dream come true. I finally got to hear Isaac's voice since back in February. I hadn't heard from him since February 24th. That was the last call he got to make to tell me he made it safe. He talked maybe for 20 to 30 seconds. They have something they read off of that they made it safe. And graduation will not be attended. Everything is private, but they will be putting it on, it will be streamed. And I cannot wait to watch it. And I've also ordered the video of the graduation, so that I ordered two, one for me, one for his sister, and Isaac can watch it and he can see his moment of shining honor. I'm just honored. He was so excited. He got his Globe Eagle anchor pin, and that is a very proud moment. So the crucible, I think, lasts like 54 hours. And in that time, they are put through a lot of rigorous work. In that time, I think they're given maybe 8 hours of sleep, not much food, and they're having to still perform. I think it's kind of like what they make it kind of like a war zone type situation. I don't know. I've never been through it, and I can't wait. Well, Isaac's not going to get to have leave either because of the virus, the pandemic. He will be going straight to the School of Infantry, but he will have his phone. I've mailed his phone to him. I'm not sure when they're going to let him use it to call us. I can't wait to hear from him again. And I hope we can talk longer than the very few minutes we had the other night. But he called me. He called his girlfriend. He tried to call his sister, but his sister had her phone on mute. She actually, I think, was at church at the time. So she was upset she didn't get to talk to her brother. They're very close. I told the story about how he and his sister came here from Honduras on a bus with coyotes. The coyotes are the name of the people who bring them over here. But anyway, I could tie him into this story with Darrell because he is now a brother with you, Darrell. Isaac made it. And I've already told Darrell Isaac made it. And I know he would be proud of him. I'm going to stop here. We're going to see if this actually will upload. Oh, gosh, I've been talking almost 50 minutes. I hadn't planned on talking that long, but gosh, you just get down thinking about everything. But isn't that beautiful? Just beautiful. Well, it kind of washes out. Let me turn this thing off. It takes it. There we go. Isn't it beautiful? Look how gorgeous and rich looking that looks. You would not believe how many colors are in this to make that. And this background has a lot of colors. And look at his beautiful face. I can't wait to get this all done and we can see it. I'm going to let you guys go now. Remember, tell the people you love that you love them. Don't wait till it's too late. Even if you've had a fight, try to get past that. I love you guys so much. Thank you for those of you who watch me all the time. I love you and appreciate you. If you're new to my channel, if you would like to subscribe, I would be so happy for you to become part of my family. Please like the video, subscribe. Let me know if you have questions. I try to remember to put my email underneath the video. Sometimes I forget. But I hope you guys are having a gloriously blessed day. Take care. God bless. Bye. Love ya.